Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video and welcome to round 23 of season 2 of our NASCAR 25 career mode. Yes, we return this weekend, finally back on a super speedway. We're out at Talladega. Of course, if you missed out on the video that went live a couple of days ago from the Charlotte Roval, I would highly recommend going back and checking out the first race in the round of 8 and none of your round of 8 competitors was able to take the race victory. Kyle Larson, late on in stage 3, able to get the job done ahead of Kyle Busch. I think it was ahead, of Gio Rogero with Corey Heim there and Kyle Busch a little bit further behind. We had a rather topsy-turvy race in the end that saw us finish out in P8, but had the kind of games track limits not been really broken, we probably could have been looking at about a top 5, maybe even a 4th place finish. We're still second overall though at the moment, of course now effectively, obviously, Talladega, there's no guarantee any of the playoff drivers are going to win, so winning your in now is probably not the big focus for most of us. It is just making sure that you have got the championship points buffer that you need. Luckily, there is a 21-point gap between Kyle Busch and Ty Majeski, currently at just below the cut line. So, unless Majeski, Smith, Hemrick, or Enfinger can win this weekend, I think it's looking fairly safe that it is going to be us four the head to that season finale out at Phoenix. Of course, a massive thank you to everybody for all their continued support on this series. If you're new, please do make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed, because we are getting very close to 2.5k subs. I'm not sure we're going to need the pedal cam for this one, because I'm sure we're going to be foot flat to the floor throughout most of the race this weekend. So let's just get out there.
Racing fans from around the world, welcome to Talladega Superspeedway, the most thrilling track in NASCAR. You're in for edge-of-your-seat action at this 2.66-mile trioval, where speed meets strategy and anything can happen for a checkered flag race.
Well, one lap then to make a difference here in qualifying from Talladega. I must admit, I'm looking forward to this weekend. One, because we might actually have a fairly competitive truck in qualifying as well. So I've got to make sure that obviously I keep the lap nice and smooth and carry as much speed as I possibly can. Their leader has done a 53.895, so I'm going to try and run high up the racetrack as we get ready to start the lap, give myself as much speed as we possibly can there before obviously we cut through the tri-oval, and then hopefully move our way down towards the bottom line as we cross the start-finish line. Then let's see how much speed this truck has got. We were very, very quick in practice, but of course, you know, all of that is largely irrelevant. Qualifying is largely irrelevant. It is all about what happens on race day Sunday, and well, I've said before, I always think the short track experience and the super speedway experience on this game, definitely when NASCAR 25 is absolutely at its peak there, as I want to make sure that we're sitting at least 181 down the backstretch there. You want to be at just over 6,800 RPM, and then of course through the turns you want to scrub off as little as you possibly can there. Try and just lock in at one smooth angle of radius through the corner. Carry as much speed as you possibly can, barely dropping about 80 RPM as we make our way through the banking, and then try and carry the speed back round towards the start-finish line there. Maybe sitting a little bit too low through the tri-oval, but it's going to be okay. 53.897. I forgot, of course, yeah, this will be two-shot qualifying, won't it, for if you've made it into the top 10. Look at that, 11 thousandths of a second away from Corey Heim. So we've kind of got our strat worked out, and now we've got to go again. But you don't run a run too close to the wall as you make your way through the banking. We're getting ready to start a lap, because you actually scrub off a little bit of speed by being a bit too high up the racetrack. But let's go once again then, 180 miles an hour as we cross the strip to start this lap. Corey Heim has found 6 1,000ths of a second over his round 1 time. Doesn't sound like a lot, but that could easily be 3-4 positions coming in the qualifying. I mean, we saw how tight the margins were, didn't we? So again, I'm just laser focused on trying to carry as much speed as we possibly can down the backstretch. Not quite sure we've carried as much speed this time around. We're still up at over 6,800 RPM, but I think there's a little bit of time to find by the time we get through, back obviously through the start, the tri-oval, I should say. So yeah, we're definitely scrubbing off a bit too much speed this time around. We do carry good speed off of the turns. But let's just try and keep it up then in this second lane this time round. It's a slightly longer radius, But it should obviously allow us to just carry a little bit more there. As back up towards the line. No. Lost loads of time there on that second run. P7 in the end. I say loads of time. We're talking about half a tenth of a second. But, I mean, look at that. Corey Heim, Chandler Smith tied up come the end of the session. Kyle Busch just 0.003 of a second away ahead of Enfinger, myself, Lane Riggs. And then, yeah, Kligerman, Rhodes and Majeski rounding out your top 10. Fine margins, but none of that matters as we get into the race.
Get on your feet. It's time to go NASCAR Truck Series racing as we go trackside with the most famous words in all of motorsports. Drivers, start your engine!
Well, it is horrible in a race like this because, obviously, for us in the playoffs, you want to be making sure you're up at the very front for the playoff points, don't you? But on the other hand, you just don't want to risk anything until you get right towards the end of the race. Stage 1, 10 laps. I believe Stage 2 is slightly longer. And then Stage 3, of course, is the longest of the bunch. At least we know tyre wear won't be much of a concern here this afternoon. But yeah, let's just kind of settle in. Let's see what the speeds are like around NASCAR's biggest and baddest tri-oval. Immediately, I do not want to be going 3 wide with Daniel Hemrick. I will swap back in. Just look at that Parker Kligerman immediately trying to get a bit of a run. I mean, again, as long as we finish this race up towards the front, it shouldn't be the biggest concern in the world. Because, again, I just don't think you can really rely on any of your top 8 to win this race. Of course, if one of them does, and especially if it's one of the ones below the cut line, huge for them, because it means they're gonna knock out somebody that probably deserves to be in that championship for a bit more than they do. Kyle Busch, Corey Heim, Lane Riggs and myself there. We have been the dominant forces throughout the campaign as well. Look at that Kyle Busch now trying to nose his way ahead of Corey Heim early on. A lot of momentum on the inside line here as we will just try and keep pushing Hemrick as far as I possibly can. I mean, this is the problem, of course. If we'd won out at the Roval last weekend, we could try and push Daniel Hemrick towards victory here later on in the day if it came to it. But we've got to play our own interest at heart at the moment still. We've got to think about what we need to be doing to make sure that we are locked in. If that means having to try and turn someone on the last lap for victory, that's just what it's going to have to take around here, as you're always kind of waiting for a wreck there. Look at that, Jake Garcia. Where's he come from? Qualifying out of the top 10. But I mean, yeah, you are just... Oh, no. No. Don't do that. Don't do that. And again, you just make that slight error of judgment. And immediately you potentially risk falling back down the order there as well. Again, more and more aggressive shoves coming in. Chandler Smith now trying to get down to the low line. But there does still seem to be pretty even momentum all up and down the road there, as Kyle Larson was winner last time out. Trying to see if he can go back-to-back this season. Too little too late, but still would be nice for him, as now you can see Heim there getting a big run on the outside. Come on, Hemrick, you've got to pick your lane, buddy. Oh, no, I'm getting shuffled up into the middle then, as I believe that was Shoot Freesome trying to... No, that was, I think, Raja Karut, actually, trying to have a bit of a look down the inside there, as we are still side by side with Corey Heim there on the outside. But I just love this. It's so ridiculous, isn't it? You don't get racing like this anywhere else in the world. As, oh, there you go, Enfinger slips off the nose. So we'll try and carry as much speed as we can once again. Oh no, I'm getting wrecked. Are we good? I think we're good. That was... Oh no, someone else has gone. Hemrick's gone behind me. And there you go. That will be the big one very, very early on in the day. We got away with it. We absolutely got away with it. So we won't need tyres at any point, I wouldn't have thought, today. So we're going to take a load of fuel now, because hopefully that'll mean we can have a quicker stop at the end of the stage. But yeah, I don't know who turned us there slightly, but we kind of got away with it. I'm last. Oh man, I didn't think we'd be... I think nobody else pit, did they? That was a bit of a mistake there. So maybe we're going to be able to try and fight our way back up towards the front then by the end of the stage there. As where are we going to be? How many laps, sorry, have we got as we restart? 4 more to go then in stage 1. We'll take this first lap just to gear ourselves up. But how many places can we regain? I mean, this does serve as a bit of a good experiment, doesn't it, early on in the night? How many places can we try and gain from the back of the pack if I need to just keep my foot welded to the floor and see what we can do there? I mean, you're going to be approaching... Probably you'll be able to get over 190 out of it, won't you? not see as insane speeds as we did back at Pocono even, actually, wasn't it? We're getting ridiculous speeds there. It's 5 wide, apparently. Oh, that was a big, brave maneuver trying to get back to the inside, but you can just see there a lot of bumping and shoving just up in front. I wanted to try and get ahead of Craftham. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to there, so we were shuffled to the inside of Tymajeski instead. And, oh, we've got to carry this. We've got to carry this. Look at that, Tony Breidinger up in 17th place. Still have a nosebleed running that high up the order this early on in the night. It's Hemrick somehow, yeah, getting away with that big, big moment earlier on. It didn't even drop down the order particularly. So, clearly, yeah, we can move our way back up towards the front here. So all we've got to keep trying to do is shuffle our way to the inside there. And, well, I don't know. I would assume everybody else is going to pick come the end of this stage. I'm not sure we're going to need to. But I don't know how long stage 2 is. But now we've kind of hit a wall. To the middle now. Can we have a look to try and give Enfinger a bit of a push as well? Like I said, if we don't have a chance to win this race, it is in my best interest to try and make sure that we push someone that isn't in the playoffs. You know, I don't want to be pushing a Corey Heim to victory, because he will be golden as we head into that championship 4 there. He won't have to worry about anything come next weekend out of Martinsville. Speaking of the number 11, oh, we're not going to give him a push. We're going to try and muscle our way to the middle there. There's Rajah Karut there, the 07, getting pushed by the 7. So we try and have a look past... Oh, no, sorry, that's Kyle Larson, isn't it, at the front? Rajah Karut. Oh, I was just getting a little bit of contact with there as... Oh, no, someone again. Ah! I'm just slowly getting turned. I'm slowly getting turned. I'm slowly getting turned. We're good. What on earth is that? Sometimes. I don't know whether part of that is me trying to move down on people. The spotters on this game aren't that great. But stage 1 then is going to be a free-for-all up at the front of the order as we've got a huge break in the pack. But suddenly now, the likes of Karut, Enfinger, maybe Frieson's going to try and come back down low. No, he isn't. So everybody is going to be back pushing towards that finish line there as Hayward speed can we carry. Look at Frankie Muniz up there. I'm happy to work with him this afternoon if I need to, but we've suddenly got an insane amount of speed as we will try and have a look to the outside of absolutely everybody on the run to the flag. I don't think we're going to have enough momentum up here. Can we still beat Heim to the line? Not quite. In stage 1 there. P8 in the end, and, well, considering the fact we could have wrecked out twice, honestly, I will take it. We've got 12 laps worth of fuel, but it doesn't say how many laps remain of this stage, so I think we'll just... Oh, no, there we go. Stage 2 is 10 laps then, so we don't need to pit. So we should re-emerge right up the front of the order. So that is pretty good going for us at the moment. Can't complain about that one. And there you go. Now, that strategy worked out pretty nicely for us. So let's just see how much we can control the order up at the front as we head into stage 2 then. As green flag waving in the air once again. And look at that Corey Heim, the only other championship runner inside your top 5 at the moment. So it's going to be 10 laps to stage 2. Stage 3, we are going to need to pit. So that will make things very, very interesting late on in the day. Oh, here we go. Jake Garcia now trying to have a look for a run to the outside. But there just doesn't seem to be much momentum building behind us at the moment. All I can really do, I think, on the inside is just try and hold the apron as best as we can at the moment. Again, none of this really matters until we get towards the end of stage 3. But some stage points could be quite handy and obviously add to some extra playoff points. Of course, if we win, it doesn't really matter at all, and we will be the only one heading to Martinsville next week without any concerns about the bigger picture. If we won today, would it be in my best interest to try and make sure Corey Heim has a terrible, terrible Martinsville? Don't want to, you know, kind of talk too soon in case I do accidentally do something to him, but maybe Matt Kenseth. Maybe I've got to do a bit of a Matt Kenseth tribute on Corey Heim. Here we go then. Daniel Hemrick, Corey Heim. Finally, someone starting to get a bit of momentum on us. So there you go, Hemrick. Oh, there you go. So Heim pushes Hemrick to the lead, and then Hemrick immediately comes back down. I don't know if he wants to work with me or what, but either way, we've got too much momentum to really try and give him a shove there. As here comes Rajah Karuth, just behind us once again, trying to give me a push back through the tri-oval. Oh, easy, easy. Don't do anything too crazy at the moment. But so far, stage 2, we have just been able to control this from the front. It seems like everybody kind of takes a couple of laps to build some momentum, looks to the high side, and then just immediately kind of the freight train runs out. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Now the push is getting a bit more aggressive as Kyle Busch to the bumper as well. And now look at that on the running order. Apart from Raja Karuth at the front, everybody else in your top 5 now is a championship eligible driver still. So, yeah, I mean, you would expect, you know, the round of 8 guys to be right towards the very front, wouldn't you? You would expect us to be the ones that can get the huge opportunities, to get the runs, to have a team that can set the car up and just find a little bit more in it. But yeah, every single time, somebody else there trying to get a bit of a run on us. The one I'm most interested still is Corey Heim. Lane Riggs doesn't seem to be much of a threat this afternoon, but Heim still has been right up towards the front throughout various patches today. But at the moment, he does seem to have disappeared. Here we go then. Here we go. Kyle Busch now just pulls alongside us, and this time round, it's probably one of the best runs anybody else has had so far. Just over 2.5 laps remaining then here from stage 2. I mean, look at that now. Immediately, I talk of Corey Heim, and Corey Heim reappears there. Big shove in towards turn 3 and 4. Tyler Ankrum just behind him. Of course, knocked out in that round of 10 alongside Jack Wood. But will Heim be able to do anything towards the end of stage 2? Stage 1 was pretty dramatic, but clearly so far tonight, if we're just able to control things towards the front of the order, that would probably work out quite nicely for us. But yeah, Kyle Busch had a huge run and then suddenly completely disappears again. Here comes Chandler Smith now, trying to look around the outside in that 38 truck for performance. Of course, is he going to be able to make it happen? He's got a lot of momentum behind him there. There you go, finally now. The freight train that's starting to work out for a lot of these guys as Heim then understands the situation, needs to give us a bit of a push as well. There's Frankie Muniz there a little bit further behind. Oh, Heim, where's he going? Just see Heim there drifting up the racetrack. I don't know if he's just alongside me. He backs out of it yet again. As you've got to be so careful about accidentally kind of getting the nose in the middle of proceedings. But stage 1 we saw a caution. Could have easily been 2. Stage 2, it is going to be the white flag in the air once again. So we will not see a caution restart in this stage. But of course we could still get a caution come the end of this one. I do wish the damage was a bit more brutal. I do wish, you know, you could run the risk. If you get involved in the big one, your chance to fight for victory, you know, sensibly should be over, whether that's through bad luck or a skill issue, as it probably would be in my case here. But Corey Heim and I, we have not worked together much so far this season, and I'm now going to try and abandon him in the middle lane there as I just spot Tyler Ankrum coming up behind us with a huge amount of momentum as well. Here comes Muniz, though. I worked with him back at Daytona. He's clearly got a lot of confidence on the super speedways. It looks like it's going to be a dogfight between myself and Frankie Muniz on the run towards the line. All I can do is look at the gaps, though, as will that 33 get the run. Jones now on the outside trying to carry the speed on the run to the line. Jones takes it right at the very end in that number 1 truck. So fair play to him, as we were running very low on fuel by the end of that stage. So we don't need tyres. We may as well take tyres, mightn't we? I don't have any repairs to do either, so stage 3 will be 23 laps then. So yeah, we are definitely going to have to pit, unless you can save 6 laps worth of fuel, which I'd be very impressed with. But there you go, we're going to restart then on the outside for this final stage of the night. I'm happy to drop back for a little bit and just make sure we are there right towards the end, as green flag waves in the air for stage 3 here at Talladega. Of course, we should hopefully be able to get a decent start alongside Jones there, as Muniz, Enfinger, Ankrum just a little bit further behind. Trying to claim as much of a side draft as we possibly can and rev the nuts off of this truck as well. Try and get up all the way up to 7,900, and there you go on the upshift there, and that should carry a fair amount of momentum out onto this backstretch as well. Will Eric Jones have the legs? He didn't qualify in the top 10, but I mean, you see on the mini-map, you can be 2 seconds off the pace in qualifying. It makes no difference at Talladega. It is all about the slipstream there, as, well, I just thought for a second, maybe Enfinger there trying to slip by. There's now the inside line with a huge amount of momentum. Frankie Muniz, though, wants to come up and work with me. So as we get a bit of a shove now, let's try and give Muniz a bit of a push then. So he will lead here at Talladega. Obviously, I don't believe he's ever won a race. Oh no, we're getting a bit swallowed up now. Oh, Heim giving me a shove as well. We get a little bit loose. Oh no, what is everybody doing? like I said, I just want to make sure we're competitive in stage 3. I'm not worried if we move back down the pack a lot, as there are a lot of pushes and shoves coming out. A lot of pushing and shoving at the moment. Is everybody trying to stay out too much trouble? Looks like things calm back down a little bit as we make our way down the back stretch. Oh, 5 wide is not what I want to hear at the moment. I mean, you just look behind. There is trucks everywhere at the moment, as we don't seem to be able to carry much momentum in towards 3. Crafton there, just on the outside of Kyle Larson. We've got both of those Hendrick cars. I mean, look at this. We are just getting swallowed up. I do not want anything to do with this at the moment. If I can move... Oh, no. If I can move up to the outside there, which we will, I'm just going to back out of this. I'm not a fan of this at the moment. I'm more than happy just to slot back down the order. Make sure we get through the pit cycle without too many concerns. And then towards the end of this race, we gain nothing at the moment by potentially getting involved in a wreck. I've got no interest in that. So we nudged the wall there. That's not good. And a couple of trucks that are up here with me, they will lose out as well. So not sure who that was. I think that was Enfinger, yeah, on the outside there. So this is not ideal. And suddenly we might lose out a little bit of a run. Come on, we gotta make sure that we keep up with that huge battle pack in front. Well, I've just been trying to experiment, see if we can save a little bit of fuel in this last stage. And well, I don't think you could ever save enough to kind of justify trying to get to the end without pitting in this final stage, but you can save quite a lot. As in, if we just sit here until we get to that pit stop, we'll probably save a good couple of laps of fuel. Now, I know it's kind of irrelevant in the sense of you want to pit when everybody else is in front of you. You want to pick a big pack of cars and just all try to pit together. On the other hand, though, if it means that we only have to put half a can of fuel in rather than a whole can of fuel, it could be very, very helpful and could boost us up the order just a little bit here. Because again, you just want to make sure that you do everything you possibly can to be in that lead pack there. We've seen about 6 trucks drop away. Breidinger there, Sutton, I think Norm Benning in that group as well. Probably, if I had to guess, Caleb Costner as well. So luckily we've kind of, you know, cut some of the fat off at the back of the pack. But Brian Dorzat is still here. So are we going to see a Brad Smith style win? Like we got in our very first race in ARCA, as that does not look good. That is exactly why I'm sitting back at the moment. These guys are being so aggressive with each other. It just does not fill me with confidence. And if there is a big one, I do not want to get involved in it. Just look at that. They are just weaving around this way and that. So I'm getting a nice slipstream from it. And like I said, we are in a bit of economy drive. I'm saving the fuel. Maybe you can see that on the pedal cam, I guess. You can see me having to move it slightly. So, yeah, the pedal cam's still useful today. Well, I'm just scanning my eyes like a hawk, waiting for somebody to get a bit too loose. Waiting for somebody to make a bit of contact that isn't well received in this race. At the moment, with 12 to go, it is still not happening. But, like I said, I'm just happy to try and stay out of trouble. The last thing I want to do is have to pit with some damage under green towards the end of this race. But we know, obviously, we found in stage 1 that we can try and push back to the front in those last couple of laps as well. So there is every opportunity, every possibility towards the end of the afternoon to try and shuffle our way back towards the front of the pack. We do not need to worry about it just yet. We've just got to make sure we're there towards the end. Oh, both of those Hendrick trucks starting to get a... Whoa! Hey! What are you doing? Why are they all slowing down so much? Why is that? Oh, we almost... I don't even know who that was that we pushed. Was it Brian Dorzat? I can't really tell. But that's ridiculous. Have we picked up aerodynamics? Yes, I have. What on earth is that? So because a couple of trucks have pit, immediately it means that everybody behind them... There you go. Apparently we're going to be diving into the pit lane this lap. But now we've got to try and push. Because again, you can see there is a little bit of a breakaway up at the front of the order here. So we need to try and carry as much speed as we possibly can. And look at that. 192 miles an hour temporarily. When will everybody else pit then come the end of this stage? As well, we need to make sure. I want to take the damage, don't I? It's going to cost us a couple of seconds. But I want to be competitive towards the very end. If I take half a can, we won't have enough to get to the checkered flag either. So we're going to have to do that then. Is let's just try and keep an eye on what some of those trucks up at the front are doing. Are they diving in? Some of them are, some of them aren't. So we're going to try and stay out there then, as I could have sworn I saw Corey Heim diving into the pit lane there. Yeah, there you go. Some of them have pit. But obviously we want to stay out in this big pack as best as we can, because although all those other guys won't lose huge amounts of time, they definitely will lose out on a bit. Yeah, let's try and get all the way to the front then this lap. See what we can do there, as everybody else on the inside, the momentum has stalled on that lower line. So surely we're going to be able to try and cycle right the way towards the very front. So obviously I don't want to mess with anything on the HUD at the moment. Again, I don't think we're going to be able to pit this time, because unless we get right the way to the front there. Look at that, Lane Riggs. He's been nowhere all day now. Suddenly back up towards the front of the order, so losing a bit of momentum there. So we are still 4 wide. 3 wide, 4 wide, they don't really know. Either way, are we going to see 0-0 in? No, we're not. So 2 laps then remaining on the fuel. So now things are getting a little bit argy-bargy once again. 5 wide, this is not where we want to be. Oh, Caden Honeycutt. I don't want to try and move him. I don't want to move him. Oh, Jack Wood there as well. Obviously knocked out in the round of 10. Could he bag his second Super Speedway victory of the campaign? Only time will tell, but we've got to try and get to the inside at some point, because of course sometimes the AI aren't great. Occasionally they will just keep going until they run out of fuel, which is both hilarious and a bit stupid. This might be my best shot there. We've got a huge amount of momentum on the high line, but again it just all stalls out by the time you get down in towards 3 and 4 there. Can we try and cut back down? No, we can't. And there's not a chance I can try and merge from this high side there. 0-0 dives into the pit lane. There you go. So now there's definitely going to be more of an opportunity there. Apparently we're still 4 wide, apparently. What is this? How many trucks are there on the inside? It's Ty Majeski now to the front of the order, but we've just got no idea as to where how much time they're either losing or gaining those other trucks that are pit a bit earlier. There's Lane Riggs now there on the inside. I mean, everybody's got to be pitting this lap. There's not a chance you can go another one. So I've got to, well, no, I've got to get onto that inside lane. I've got to get onto that inside lane, but we're still getting pushed. Right, come on, we've got to try and find a gap to slot in. I don't want to risk this. I do not want to risk this. As trying to move our way in. There's still trucks on the inside, though. Just got to try and scroll off a little bit more momentum. Leaders in, everybody's in. Oh no, Stuart Friesen. Ah! Stuart Friesen, there you go. We'll get most of the speed scrubbed off. That was definitely a slightly illegal pit lane entry, but Gary was actually telling me that apparently the AI are a bit too quick through the pit lane in this game. So I don't quite know kind of what he meant by that, but apparently to kind of keep it even, you should speed on pit lane entry. That's the excuse I'm giving myself anyway. Hopefully that damage isn't going to cost us too much. Hopefully we're not going to get jumped by too many trucks there, and at least kind of stay with this pack. Oh, this isn't looking good. This is not looking good there. As we move our way back out onto the circuit. Look at that. That other battle pack then has definitely made this strategy work, as we are going to be a little bit disconnected from a huge amount of trucks. You can see there, they are still a bit more thinly spread. As there you go, Lane Riggs diving into the pit lane, but that damage has cost us then by the looks of it. And unless we get a caution right towards the end of the race, are we going to see some trouble right towards the very end? We are now last, apparently, in this race, so things not looking good for us now. Well, there we go then, as the last of those trucks makes their way back onto the circuit. I can see one of them has been held up. That is Daniel Emmerich, so at least it's another playoff driver that seems to be in the wars, but Caden Honeycutt and I believe Chandler Smith both opted to stay out an extra lap, and I think they're now losing bags of time. Yes, they are. So they're losing bags of time as they try to limp back round to pit lane here. But 4 laps to go. Talladega giveth and Talladega taketh away. We need a miracle if we want to try and get anything out of this race. Well, I clearly should never have taken the damage, should I, as we have lost out so much ground against everybody else. 4 laps to go now. See, Tony Breidinger has been disconnected from her group of trucks just up in front as well, but there's not a chance we make back up 10 seconds unless we get a caution right towards the end. Maybe Breidinger needs to be a bit of a sacrifice. Really did think even with that 2-second repair time, I thought we wouldn't lose as much as we did. I thought we'd still come out kind of in that pack of cars that we were with there, but ultimately Corey Heim now Is he going to be able to claim victory here at Talladega and lock himself in before we head to Martinsville next week? For us, it is likely now going to turn into a must-win scenario in that finale as white flag in the air. And suddenly now, this championship has taken a huge, huge twist. I thought we'd do well at the Roval. We came top 10. I thought we'd do well here. It's looking like it's probably going to be my worst result of the season. I didn't know, better than Atlanta, wasn't it, back at Echo Park? So maybe it was just Daytona that we got a little bit lucky, but a stupid, stupid error. But again, I'd rather make it now in the Truck Series than the Daytona 500 or something like that up in Cup. Back through the tri-oval though, will it be Heim that will claim victory here and lock his way into the championship four, back towards the checkered flag? Yes, it will! Corey Heim there locks himself in to that season finale through the final corner for us. P32, a devastating, devastating end. Oh man, a critical error late on in the day, not what I wanted. And, well, had we not had that kind of horrible moment where people started to break on the racing line right in front of us, the damage would have never have occurred. And we would have still been in the fight right towards the very front there. Corey Heim takes the victory, less than 1/10 of a second ahead of Frankie Muniz, as Ankrum finishes P3 there. Gio Rosero actually having a couple of really good races in this round of 8 as well. Norm Benning finishes P6 there, ahead of Majeski, Tanner Gray, Johnny Sauter and Kyle Larson inside your top 10. I guess we can take some solace in knowing that Kyle Busch down in P17, Lane Riggs down in 20th, so a lot of our championship rivals not doing that well either, but boy oh boy it hurts. And there we go then. We don't just seem to be not picking up much rep at the moment, do we? Because we're not getting the big results we need to. You know, that one win a couple of races ago might be critical, but yeah, I mean, out of everybody to win this race, if it was going to be a playoff driver, Corey Heim, definitely the one that deserves to be into that season finale, doesn't he? So there you go. Playoff pulse, round of 8. Corey Heim wins at Talladega. We're caught up with Matt Beard after the race to express relief at their current spot in the playoff standings. Obviously, we have more to do, and we'll have to keep the fight on until the round is over. Williams for Wallace there. Matt Beard can do a lot better. They just got to keep it cool and not make contact. Cody Dennison, apparently he thought we were better than that today. So did I. And today got pretty nasty. That was an undeserved hit from Matt Beard. I don't even remember making contact with Grant Enfinger, but there we are. If I didn't have to show up at Talladega, I wouldn't. Matt Beard admits the risk of a big crash spill is too high with this kind of racing. Yeah, it's tough out there. It is tough here at Talladega. I'm lucky we just made it through without any big hits on the truck. And there we go then, 32nd. There's not been many races this year we have finished outside the top 30. And I really do hope it doesn't continue. Shouldn't have taken too much damage on the truck, though. Like I said, we avoided doing too much to it today. So happy that, of course, that will be our championship finale truck that we take out to Phoenix there. One more race, though, to try and guarantee ourselves in. But I think looking at the standings, we're still looking pretty safe at the moment. 1 point in it between Kyle Busch and Lane Riggs above the cut line there, with Ty Majeski now just 16 points back. So if one of those guys wins, we are still looking pretty good. We've got a bit of a buffer still. But yeah, Corey Heim, of course, with those playoff points. 8 wins now for each of us over the course of the campaign. What a race it has been from him. We will be back, though, very, very soon as we head out to Martinsville. Of course, we did win this race earlier on in the season. We've won, I believe, most of the short track races so far. So hoping, of course, as we head into that finale, we will still be looking pretty good. Thank you all so much for watching, though. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and yeah, we will be back out at Martinsville.